The 2024 PUBG Mobile Global Championship in London saw 16 of the world's best squads battle it out for the title. The tournament's top plays were absolutely unforgettable. Many are calling this the best PUBG Mobile game ever. Thank you to PUBG Mobile Esports for sponsoring this absolute cinema. Number 10, Apex of Mongolia's 4 Miracle Vive suffers an early game knock and needs help. Rifus, out of nowhere, comes to Apex's rescue and puts away Navi's Lemon to save his teammate. We kick off our top 10 action by breaking the all-time PMGC finals record, but that never even has a chance to happen without this heroic rescue from Rifus. 4MV fights on. Later in the game, 4MV takes 17 eliminations into the top 4. Doc leads the way, spotting out Encilio from across the forest. With nowhere to run, Doc picks up his 10th and 11 elims of the game, and the momentum has turned into a tsunami for 4MV. They've got the Vicious from Mexico down to their final 2 players. Baron and Rifus hold the corners for 4MV. Baron starts the action with a knock onto David, and Rifus ends the game how he started it, completely clutch. 4MV steamrolls their way to a chicken dinner with an all-time PMGC Finals single-game record of 23 eliminations, much to the delight of their fans. Number 9, we're at the school and down to the top 2 teams on our angle. Brazil's Influence Rage has a 4-on-3 advantage over DRX of South Korea. Influence Rage has the high ground, and they have the numbers. The problem? DRX has the zone. The final circle starts to close, and Influence Rage is forced to make a move for the exit. DRX QXZ opens the action with a knock onto Rage's little boy to even things up at 3 versus 3. The smokes are out in force, making visibility impossible for both teams. Rage's Diego pushes the pace and connects blindly through the smoke with his S12K and drops DRX to just 2. QXZ immediately answers, and it appears 2 is all that DRX would need to get the job done. Influence Rage went from having numbers to being outnumbered, and Hyunbin hangs back and guards the exits while QXZ rounds the corner one last time to connect multiple shots as his time expires to drop Influence Rage. DRX wins this battle shorthanded for their first winner-winner chicken dinner, masterfully done by the Korean squad. Number 8. China's Tong Jiabao holds the top of Erangel's highest peak as Triple S sees Na'Vi approaching to crash their party. Triple S rejoins a squad as 676 masterfully holds off Na'Vi with Overwatch. 676 opens the action with a shotgun pick on a Na'Vi's flank. He reloads and launches a grenade over the ridge, which lands as well, taking down Puncher. 1 Na'Vi player remains, and 676 chases him down to make quick work of P6 and the remainder of Na'Vi's squad. TJB would not have long to rest as lobby leader Regnum Bra of Turkey would push onto them from the mountain's opposite side. Flower immediately stalls the push by connecting with a nade. Sada from RCB steps up to take matters into his own hands. Sada picks up a knock onto Lungs and quickly scampers away, with Loxy providing brilliant cover. But will he make it? The nade from Triple S says no. Wild is now knocked on the opposite flank, and now TJB can capitalize. 676 on the push again. RCB has all hopes resting with Loxy in a 1 versus 2, and he fails to convert. Tong Jiabao wins back-to-back squad fights on the top of Everest and leaves no man left behind as they carry their wounded to safety. Number 7. Loons jumps with the wrong squad and chaos ensues. The Vicious rudely slam the door in TJB's face and viciously stab them in the back. But surprise, Brunosen is back with a UMP to save his teammates. He conserves some ammo, gets a punch out, and Loons is now blocking the door. He can't get back inside. The Vicious finally get both of their players back into the house, but Triple S is back with a shotgun from next door, and he's looking to get revenge. Shockingly, TJB still has the chance to rescue a couple of players after this drop. But that hope abruptly ends, with Brunosen connecting to Triple S's armorless body to end this insane drop. Or so they thought. Also pulling up to the greenhouse in the middle of nowhere is DRX, who almost get res as he scrambles back to safety. DRX surrounds them. The Vicious have no armor, no ammo, and most importantly, no meds. They only have 3 members left to try to hold off DRX, who is hovering at every open window and door like a bona fide horror movie. No one wants to make the first move, and after a several-minute standoff, DRX retreats and drives off into the distance. The Vicious are finally safe at last. Or are they? DRX have come back on foot. they're snaking in the grass. The second the Vicious get too far from that little greenhouse, DRX opens fire. The Sharks circle, and just like that, Vicious is out of the lobby. What a chaotic drop. Number 6. No trickery in this one. Westron gets 1, 2, then 3 hard-charging Vicious members, and the crowd goes wild. The Vicious thought Encilio's Westron was an easy mark all by himself, but they miscalculated. Westron ruthlessly ends the bulk of their squad, but one Vicious member survives. Westron wasn't done yet. He puts Encilio onto his back and dodges the Vicious bullets all the way into the safety of a nearby tower. Now, his team is into the top 4. Other squads battle it out, and all Westron needs to do is outlast Deminor from the Vicious to try and secure second place. Westron and Deminor eyeball each other from positions from afar, each waiting for the other to peek and make a mistake. The final circle begins to collapse, and Deminor sets up a smoke wall, hoping it successfully covers his exit. And he's immediately gunned down by Nigma Galaxy, and Encilio will take home second place thanks to the heroics of Westron. Number 5. Influence Rage looks down on Regnum Carrier Bra with a 3-on-2 advantage. RCB Silas quick peeks and gets an opening knock onto Diego, while Loxy immediately rushes to the flank with a vehicle. Rage is distracted, allowing Silas to pop back out and take out Lil Boy. He immediately turns his attention to Law, and just like that, RCB overwhelms Influence Rage to grab another clutch chicken dinner and move into first place on the overall standings. Number 4. Navi's Lemon is the last man standing after Encilio completely overruns his position near the school. He's spotted by an Encilio player across the street and with 1 HP has to bail into the house for cover. There's blood in the water now, though, as Westron and Redlick immediately collapse on Lemon as he desperately tries to heal. Lemon takes out Westron, then 180 flicks onto Redlick for an insane 1 versus 2 final stand. I can't imagine the shock of Redlick after he realizes he was just too slow to take down Lemon as Navi punishes Encilio for not finishing the job. Number 3. Razak from Voin Donkey of Indonesia is staring 3 players of the scary Alpha 7 squad. Trio takes down Zeta on the flank, and now it's up to Razak to do something about it. He readies his Molotov and gives it a heave, beginning his push. Tries to close the gap as fast as possible, getting all 3 Alpha 7 players with his shotgun as Voin Donkey ID makes quick work of Alpha 7, and they enter the top 3. Razak was just too fast, and this was one of the loudest moments of the weekend. It's now time for our top 2 plays of the tournament, and it's only fitting that they were both from the same game, the greatest game in PUBG Mobile esports history, the final game of the tournament, the one for all the marbles, the one where everything is on the line. The winner takes home $400,000 and the title of World Champion as their prize. The trophy awaits, but before we dive into our top 2, let's take a look at the tournament scoreboard as the teams entered the final game. EMEA's Regnum Carrier Bra sits on the top spot entering the final game. They lead D+ Kia of Korea by only 1 point. Nigma Galaxy sits just 5 points back in 3rd place. Any of these teams could win, and it all comes down to this very last match on Miramar. 2nd place DK starts the game on the high ground in the east of Miramar, while RCB groups up and drives to the east, jockeying for good position in the zone. RCB needs to find success on this map as they lead by only 1 point. The second zone of the game gave PUBG Mobile fans everything they could ever want. 90% of stage 2 is in the water. The crowd immediately starts buzzing as the mad dash to the islands is on. Number 2, tournament leader Regnum Carrier Bra races to the shore where they hope to cross to safety. Unfortunately for them, they're 20 seconds behind 5 other squads, and now the crossing is blocked. Team Spirit and Falcons both stand in the way, and RCB needs to do something about it. If they're not going to be able to make the crossing, RCB needs to get as many points as possible on the mainland. As Team Spirit and Falcons fight, RCB decides to do exactly that. They need every elimination they can find, as most of the lobby has already jumped in the water to make the swim. Just when it appears several players are going to be wiped from the lobby, RCB returns to the fight out of nowhere, engaging Team Spirit first from the safety of the ridgeline. Their attention quickly turns now to the remaining Falcons members, and a grenade puts down 2 Falcons in the water. Icy and Top swim out to their deaths, and RCB regroups to head north along the shoreline. Across the water, third place Nigma Galaxy has already successfully made their crossing to the southern island, while second place D+ Kia has landed on the northern island. Each squad will begin to mount their defenses there to make the final push up the standings. The circle is centered on the northern east island, which effectively zones Nigma Galaxy out and places DK squarely in the final circle. RCB still has only 4 squads to fight on the mainland, and they'll need every point they can get, as a successful crossing at this point is highly unlikely. They group up and begin to frantically chase teams down the shoreline. Loxy chases China's Thunder Talk Gaming into the water, and RCB is not content to let these guys get away. King and AJ are quickly finished, and what looked like a desperate final round for RCB is turning into something special. RCB wins the fight but does not have time to celebrate, and now that the northern shore is finished, they again head south, trying to find the remnants of any squad still remaining on the mainland. They catch Tong Jiabao trying to cross the water, and they open fire. There's still a few TJB players on the hillside, and RCB snaps into action. Wild corrals a TJB player trying to escape in a vehicle and keeps them engaged. Every single point will count now, and they know it. Wild buys some time for his teammates to focus on this new target, and another TJB player pops up to heap on the pressure. Wild could be in trouble, but RCB delivers, knocking 6-7-6. The blue zone finally engulfs the remaining mainland and forces RCB into the water. Perhaps in the most shocking turn of events yet, RCB finds the only boat on the shoreline, and all 4 members hop aboard. As they head across the water, RCB is already at 10 elims, a massive performance that they desperately needed. Every squad on the map is firing on them as they're coming in hot. 1, 2, 3, all 4 players bail out safely at the shoreline, successfully leapfrogging all of the swimmers, and somehow Sada and Silas make it onto the beach and to the cliffside, only to be met with a grenade from Guild, who hasn't done anything all tournament long, but are good enough to stop the tournament's top team from coming ashore. RCB is down to just 2. Wild and Loxy. Shots are inbound from every direction as RCB has attracted a lot of attention with their boat entry. Wild and Loxy use the shoreline for cover and strategize how they're going to rescue their teammates. Guild's Wagner pushes up and is forced back by the Vicious, but he lobs a nade into the water and directly hits RCB's Loxy. RCB is now down to just 1 player. Their time looks to be running out. Wild goes for the underwater revive on Loxy, while Wagner is tunnel visioned onto the RCB players who are barely treading water. Wild returns a well-placed grenade that finishes Wagner, but Wild is clipped by a third party from the Vicious at the exact same moment. Sada and Silas are still hanging on by a thread, helplessly watching. It's Loxy's turn to revive in the water, and while he's busy getting his teammate back in the fight, Alpha 7 finally makes their way across the water. Shots are exchanged, and Wild wins the fight with Alpha 7 being eliminated. RCB picks up another elimination, and somehow, someway they live on. The crowd's going absolutely bananas. Heels are up, and RCB is back at it with Guild as Jakey lobs in yet more grenades. It's Jakey's turn to be tunnel visioned on RCB, and he doesn't notice Influence Rage swimming into the shore behind him. Influence Rage comes ashore and immediately shoots Jakey in the back, forcing him to recklessly charge towards RCB. He connects with the DBS onto Wild, and Wild is knocked again in the water. Now, RCB is down to just Loxy one more time. Surely, this must be the end now. Jakey falls into the water. Both players struggle to jump out and land the winning shots as the blue zone now quickly closes in on the shoreline. Loxy pops out of the water and with a pump shotgun sits down Jakey, and now the pesky Guild squad is eliminated. RCB lives on. Influence Rage finishes off Wild, and now it's just Loxy left. RCB has crept all the way into the top 6 of the lobby. Low Boy lobs the final grenade into the water that finally finishes off RCB for good, but not before they picked up 13 eliminations and a 6th place finish. Number 1. We rewind the clock a little bit to stage 2 as the circle first reveals that it's going to the islands. Take a look at this masterful driving from D+ Kia, with Osal somehow guiding his car down hundreds of meters without crashing. This would prove to be crucial for making it to the water ahead of the other teams. DK was one of the first teams to prioritize the eastern islands as they swam across early to secure a position on the southern tip of the northern island. Their gamble was rewarded. Only 3 other squads have made it to the island, and unfortunately they're fighting each other. DK doesn't know it yet, but they'll need every single elimination they can find and the chicken dinner if they want to catch up to RCB. Nobu gets knocked early and DK's chances are looking shaky. The Vicious is heating up and takes down Vexy from Void and Donkey. DK looks on from a distance with a gaping chasm between the Vicious and themselves. They have to find a way to make this crossing. Deminor finds Potato again in the water, and this time he finishes him. D plus Kia lets another point slip away. Influence Rage now sneaks up behind the Vicious and engages, knocking Reyes and distracting the Vicious momentarily. DK loses another point to the Vicious. As Deminor defends against Diego successfully, Influence Rage now has bought them some time to cross that insurmountable gap. Now, DK moves into range successfully and the grenades begin to fly. Both squads clash and each is trying to get that crucial first knock. Nobu gets a good read on the Vicious position and lines up a grenade. Lucky for DK, it's Nobu's grenade that lands first to kick off the fight, and the crowd erupts, knowing what is on the line. The Vicious loses Reyes and they're down to just one. Deminor's on the retreat while DK pushes, trying desperately to find the remaining Vicious player. Lil Boy from Influence Rage finally leaves his hiding spot to take up an off angle on Deminor. DK finds Deminor and hits him first, but Lil Boy hits hard from the flank, and D plus Kia has let another crucial point slip away as the elim is credited to Lil Boy and 4th place Influence Rage. This infuriates DK, who quickly responds and takes down Influence Rage's last player. But will it be enough to top the legendary performance of Regnum Carrier Bra? DK looks around, searching for answers. The tension is palpable, but the results are in. D plus Kia's chicken dinner in the final game has given them a 1-point edge, and they are your 2024 PMGC champions. A legendary reaction from Osal, and the team achieves their goal of hoisting the trophy as the confetti flies. This year's champion is D plus Kia from South Korea. The top 10 plays of this year's PMGC were epic, and the top 2 could not have been better. Shout out to RCB on an incredible second place performance, and a huge thank you to PUBG Mobile Esports for putting on incredible esports tournaments and for sponsoring this video. Congratulations to D plus Kia, your new world champs.